Today, we're talking about 1989's Kickboxer. Jean-Claude Van Damme comes out and does Kickboxer in 1989. 1988, he did Bloodsport. Now, I know Bloodsport is the fan favorite. Bloodsport is the movie that everyone talks about when they talk Jean-Claude Van Damme. They talk about Bloodsport because Bloodsport is that good and it's super fun. It's loosely based off the real life Frank Dukes, who later you find out was probably embellishing a lot of the Kumite stuff and a lot of his accolades that he had accomplished. Some of it was real, but a lot of it was not. That's a different video for a different day. Look that up if you'd like to. Also, a movie that was loosely based off Frank Dukes' life was The Quest, which Jean-Claude Van Damme did in the mid '90s. I think that was '96. So 1989 though, Kickboxer. I grew up with Kickboxer. I saw Kickboxer before I saw Bloodsport. Now I know, like I said, forgive me for the bait title where, it says, Kickboxer better than Bloodsport. I know people are going to come in the comments. People always like coming in the comments. I literally posted a thing asking, I did a clip of the Metallica Master of Puppets 40th anniversary video that I did. And I asked if Metallica's Master of Puppets is the best Metallica record, and is it the best? Do you think it's the best thrash metal record? I got guys going off, spouting off about everything about how wrong I am and how there's 40 better thrash metal. Okay, calm down, dude. It's not that serious. I don't even think it's the best thrash metal record. It's not even my favorite Metallica record, but I was just saying it's perceived that way by the masses. A lot of people see it that way. So don't attack me. We're having fun here, so calm down. I know that Bloodsport is super revered, and for good reason. It's a great film. It's super entertaining. The cast is perfect. Donald Gibb as Ray Jackson. He's like the beloved character, and we get a beloved character in this movie too. The dude who plays Winston, the Vietnam vet. He's super beloved. So there's some parallels to these two films. We got a beloved character, obviously Jean-Claude Van Damme, and we have two great villains. In Bloodsport, we have Chong Li, played by Bolo Yeung. I was actually able to meet Bolo Yeung a couple years ago, and he was as stoic and as scary as he is in the film. But we're not talking about Bloodsport today. We're talking about Kickboxer. And when we talk about Kickboxer, we got to talk about Tong Po. Tong Po, to me, was a scarier villain. It scared me more when I grew up watching Kickboxer. And nice little 4K that came out, 35th anniversary, little lenticular. Look at that lenticular cover right there. Badass. This 4K came out. Lionsgate put out this Blu-ray steelbook, and I picked it up. I had the regular Blu-ray release that Lionsgate put out. I want to say that came out in like 2008, 2009. I had that for a while. Obviously had the DVD before that, had the VHS tape growing up. That was one I actually my father bought, and we owned an actual copy of Kickboxer, but we also had it recorded on a VHS tape before that. They released this nice Blu-ray at the beginning of in I think 2023 or early 2020. I think that was early 2024. They put out that nice Blu-ray, and then later that year they put out this 4K steelbook. So I double dipped, bought the same movie twice in the same year. The Blu-ray steelbook and now the 4K steelbook. The 4K steelbook, as I said, it has that nice 4K lenticular slip. This is just a badass edition of Kickboxer, 35th anniversary edition. 3 discs. We got the Blu-ray, we got the 4K, and then there's another disc in here. And this just looks great. This came out. They did this. Oh man, Tong Po licking the glass that's the most diabolical villain ever. I know people, like I said, I know people revere Chong Li because Chong Li is it's Bolo Yeung, man. He entered the dragon. He's jacked. He's chiseled like a brick shit house, and he's sick. But Tong Po, who's played by Michelle Kissy, who is not from Thailand, but plays a Thailand fighter. He's actually, I can't remember what Michelle Kissy is. Anyway, he was like a choreographer it was going to be a choreographer on the film. He's actually in Bloodsport. He put like a scar on his face and kind of like put some makeup effects on his face to make him look like a TIE fighter. And that's how he got the job, because he looked so intimidating. And then they're like, "Oh, you got to handle." There's actually a fun story. Michelle Kissy actually tells it in the special features of this. I won't spoil it for you, but I'll give you that much. But it's a super fun story that Michelle Kissy plays in there. But he plays Tong Po. Tong Po, to me, the introduction of Tong Po is great too, where he's kicking the goddamn pillar in the underground dungeon gym thing before he has the fight. So the story of Kickboxer is actually great. The story of Kickboxer is awesome. It's very simple. It's a little more simplistic than Bloodsport. Bloodsport is a little more fun. This underground secret of Kumite. If they have the opening scene where there's the, Jean-Claude Van Damme's younger, and he's kind of like adoptive to this family. There's a little bit more of a story there, I guess. But there is a great simple story of revenge with Kickboxer. And that is two brothers, one played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kurt Sloan, and then Eric the Eliminator Sloan, his brother, played by Dennis Alexia, who was a legitimate, well-respected champion world kickboxer at the time as well. A legit fighter. The title that he has in it, that he wears in the film at the beginning, that's an actual title that Dennis Alexia had held at the time. A legitimate world-class kickboxer. So there gives it a lot of credo there, a lot of respected elements as real fighters. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, obviously, a super talented martial artist, a champion martial artist in his own right. He was the Muscles from Brussels. If you know anything about Jean-Claude Van Damme, he was a legitimate fighter. He could fight. And they play brothers. Dennis Alexio plays Eric the Eliminator Sloan, which Dennis Alexio was called Dennis the Terminator Alexio. That was his fighting name. So it's not too far from who Dennis Alexio was. He was a legitimate fighter with a badass nickname, and he was kicking ass wherever he goes, as he says in it. Jean-Claude Van Damme's character of Kurt Sloan is raised in the U.S. Because the parents separated. He was trained as a ballet dancer in Eastern Europe, and Dennis Alexio's character of Eric was raised in North America, and is just a badass American fighter. Is the kind of what they set it up as. And Kurt is now, their parents are passed away, and Kurt is, pretty much like the manager, the right hand to his brother Eric, and he goes to Thailand. He's fighting the best in the world, and he's fighting in the tournament. And sure as shit, he meets up with Tong Po. Tong Po paralyzes the dude, and Kurt Sloan then finds a well-respected martial artist trainer and trains to avenge his brother's death and fight Tong Po. Ends up fighting Tong Po in like an underground, seedy, Thai mafia environment with dipping the hands in the glass. It's insane. I always thought that now the climax fight with Chong Li and Jean-Claude Van Damme's character Frank Dukes in Bloodsport is awesome, with the getting blinded and fighting Chong Li at the end is amazing. But I always resonated a little bit more with Kickboxer. I think it's because I saw it first, and there's a lot of nostalgia tied to it watching it. Growing up with my dad and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit more nostalgic for it. I love Bloodsport. Bloodsport is one of my favorites of all time. I have a poster right over here. I actually showed on the screen. Both signed by Bolo Young and Donald Gibb, who plays Ray Jackson. Waiting for Jean-Claude Van Damme to show up at a convention at some point. I would love to get literally 9 autographs on things I have of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Regardless, this movie, again, you have the Donald Gibb character of Ray Jackson, the fellow fighter that's in the Kumite. He's boys with Frank Dukes in Bloodsport. You get kind of a character that, the character that is at the fights, Winston, and he plays like a guy that's pretty much like, he brings Eric to the hospital because, you couldn't trust anybody that was local. They were all, Freddie Lee is like the Thai mafioso guy there in Thailand, and no one's to be trusted. But he gets taken to the hospital by Winston, and Winston tries to warn Kurt to not avenge. Don't avenge, against in Eric's honor to Tong Po. Tong Po and Freddie Lee run everything in Thailand, and it's not something to mess with. Winston ends up bringing him to Xian, and Xian reluctantly trains him, and we get amazing training montages in Kickboxer, and it's super fun. Like, for me, it's super nostalgic. I can understand why Bloodsport is the more mainstream fun pick that everyone has over Kickboxer. I'm not denying that at all. I understand why Bloodsport is more loved and more revered as the whole. But Kickboxer for me always did a little bit more for me. And it's probably nostalgic growing up with it and seeing it a lot more as a kid, more so than I did Kickboxer, or more so than I did Bloodsport. And now I watched a lot of Bloodsport growing up too, but I was exposed to Kickboxer first and saw it more. So that's probably why. Now, if you haven't seen either, watch both with an open eye. Most people are going to say Bloodsport because it probably is a better film. There's a little bit more there. While the story is pretty simple for Kickboxer, it's super fun. Like, it just gets to the point. And I say this all the time. If you listen to the podcast, audio podcast Sight and Sound that we do, you can check that out. The link's in the bio. We talk about all the time that the thing for a great action movie is a simple plot. It doesn't need to be complex. There doesn't need to always be a twist. There doesn't always need to be something crazy happening. It could be a simple revenge plot, and you could be, if you develop characters quick and you get to the point, as long as there's some great sequences, an action film from the 80s, the 90s, it can be very successful with just a few ingredients. Homemade dough, a homemade marinara, and a little bit of cheese goes a long way. You don't need all kinds of toppings always. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Bloodsport has a ton of toppings and has a ton of fluff and a ton of different things thrown in. That's a pretty simple movie too. This is even more dumbed down. It's very simple. But I always loved this one. Tong Po was always so much scarier to me. But Bloodsport or Kickboxer, which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. But I've always been a Kickboxer guy. I just have been. I just thought it was. I love the beginning of the film too, where there's the Stan Bush songs in this. Never Surrender closes it. Closes the movie. Streets of Siam opens it, where the brothers are just walking around. Eric's king shit because he's the world champ, and he's kicking ass wherever he goes. I love that's a hilarious line that's in it. And just the time, the music. Obviously, Stan Bush is in Bloodsport as well. But yeah, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Kickboxer or Bloodsport? Again, I will not say you're wrong about either, because Bloodsport is amazing. I just prefer Kickboxer. What do you prefer? Tell me what you prefer. Leave it in the comments. And more Jean-Claude Van Damme talk, because I am a Jean-Claude Van Damme guy through and through, more so than anybody else. Arnold's a close second, a very close second. I do love Stallone. I love Chuck Norris. I love Don the Dragon Wilson. I love a lot of guys. Jean-Claude and Arnold are my two guys, for sure. But yeah, let me know in the comments, which one do you prefer, Bloodsport or Kickboxer? I'm a Kickboxer guy. What are you?